Hello and welcome to the Dads in Person. We are here for the gaming retreat, the first ever gaming retreat of my Patreon community. I am very excited to be playing in this session with the guys in person. So let's meet who's here. To my left, let's start with Nathan.
Hi, I'm Nathan, and I am playing Humphrey Humblebottom, who is a human wizard.
Yes. And then Andy.
I'm Andy, and I'm playing Riff, who used to be a half-elf, and now he's not sure what he is anymore.
There you go. Exactly. Across the table, we have Dave.
Yes, I'm Dave. I'm playing Tuco Musashi, who is a sword wielder.
Yes. And then Erik.
I'm Erik. I'm playing Durant Molarkin, and Durant is a cleric.
Yes, he is. And trying to figure out exactly how his divine power works in this new world that you guys have found yourselves in. So as a recap, you guys have done quite a bit of exploring of the island. The expedition that you have joined, which the leader of which is Captain Edwards, has been basically fanning out from the harbor where the ship has made anchor. You established a base camp and then have gone on multiple exploration missions in different directions. You have discovered some rivers, some lakes, some forest, deep forest lands, and you've begun to uncover some of perhaps the historical ancient lore of this mysterious island, this continent. In the last session, you guys went on a very long expedition, and you had an encounter with a strange, undeadish kind of creature, which seemed to be almost undefeatable, until Humphrey yeeted him into a faraway place, which was basically you just yeeted him into
the ocean.
Yeah, way into the ocean, just until you couldn't see him anymore. Then you guys made your way back to the camp. So it is nighttime. You have returned to the camp. Durant, this whole time, you have been actually working on transcribing the notes of Captain Edwards and kind of consolidating people's reports from their different expeditions.
And by the way, because our group sort of went out and did more than what is humanly possible, I'm editing those notes to sort of dial it back a little. And I'm also withholding like the magical things we did, like looking into the past and like, you know, those things that we have extra information about. But, you know, I'm being truthful in general. I am reporting on the existence of the monument, but I am not going into detail about the metal at the base of the monument.
Okay, good move. Now, here's a follow-up question. Would Durant be copying into his own journal more of that information that you're not sharing with Captain Edwards' compilation?
Yeah, if possible, I would like to sort of in secret use magic, though, to make that unreadable for anybody else except for the people in our group.
That is an interesting question. Do you have material magic?
That's a good question. Let me answer that.
If you did, you would be able to perhaps utilize...
I do not have material magic, so I would most likely not be able to do that.
Okay. You do?
I do.
To what level?
4.
Okay. So you could share that later with Humphrey, and perhaps he could perform an enchantment upon the parchment in your book to make it so that it is only readable to a certain group of people.
And also what I'm doing is I'm taking any notes from the other groups that are interesting to fill out our story more.
Deeper point of questioning and clarification. What languages prior to coming to this world did Durant know? Elvish was one of them?
Yes, Elvish.
Okay, you know something.
Okay.
You know that Elvish doesn't seem to be a language that people here know. And therefore, if you wrote in Elvish script, it would almost be like a secret that only other people who knew Elvish would know.
I think
which
I know.
Everybody in this party knows. So that's another way that you could do that without the use of magic.
Okay, I will do that, but then I will also be paranoid and later at some point do another level of obfuscation.
Okay, fair enough. So you're in the big tent, which is where Captain Edwards kind of set up his office, and a lot of the supplies are in there, the supplemental weapons, that kind of stuff. And you have just been tirelessly working on this stuff all day, and you've gotten a huge amount completed. You feel like the consolidation of all of those notes from all those different expeditions now has been greatly clarified, and the sketches that you've included of the map have also been much more accurate based on when you guys were flying around and actually seeing from an aerial perspective. Your measurements are also a lot more accurate than what a lot of the parties wrote down in their notes. So you've spent the entire day doing that. You guys come back, and remember, you had stopped short of the camp, so you didn't fly in, because you've come to sense that the use of magic in that such a vulgar way would be something that would make people uncomfortable, or at least very suspicious of. So you guys arrive back in the camp after going on your day of expedition. And you all make your way looking for Durant. You see people are busy. The camp it's nighttime. There's the central campfire. There is some food left from the provisions in the mess tent, and you guys find Durant in the main tent. Bear in mind, he isn't aware of the encounters that you've had when you went across the water to that island or anything like that. So how would you like to share that?
So I think we would like to go and kind of grab Durant. So we need to talk about what we found. And kind of pull him to the side.
Okay. Durant, your friends arrive.
Sure.
You are the only people in the tent right now. Captain Edwards isn't in there. He's out with the rest of the crew.
Okay.
Well, gentlemen.
Hey, okay. We got to talk. We found some stuff, but we need it's for kind of your ears only.
If only we had some means of solving that.
I mean, we could literally walk over there where there aren't people and talk.
Okay, let's
Elvish.
walk.
Elvish.
Okay.
That's true. They know we're foreign, so we could technically talk in a foreign language, and it wouldn't be weird.
So where would you go outside of the camp to have this discreet conversation?
And this is the camp
Yes.
right here?
So this was the camp,
Okay.
as we could see here. So the main tent's here, but let's put our minis
Should we
somewhere
put our
where you
minis?
guys. Yeah, let's put your minis. Pick a spot where you can
Like,
go.
where would the shrine that Durant built earlier sort of be?
Well, that direction is going to be north, so it would be kind of towards that edge of the trees.
Okay, we'll go sort of by that.
Come here, Humphrey.
Dave, can you?
Come here, Humphrey. We'll get closer. Thank you.
I'm actually going to give you a thing to mark that shrine in the form of this giant water bowl.
It's a very sacred water bowl.
Yeah.
Is the water tasty?
No, it's actually pretty putrid. It's a lot of mosquitoes.
So you guys go over there, and it is night. Like, you have moonlight, but it's also very overcast, and it has cooled down quite a bit at night, despite the hot Mediterranean climate that you're in.
Everybody's lost their dark vision, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Definitely.
So you have a little bit of moonlight, and I mean, you're close enough to each other where, like, you could see each other, but you don't have a lot of visibility. Back over your shoulder, you could see the big bonfire in the middle of the camp, and you could see, like, the silhouettes of people moving around and the tents and stuff like that. But you're...
I mean, we don't need to go far out. We just kind of, with outside of earshot with whispered voices, and information that we're saying isn't particularly salacious. It's just...
Can Riff use sense danger to sense motives of anyone or anything in the area? Would that determine if somebody had noticed us going over that wants to try to listen in on our conversation?
Yeah.
Can you use it for that?
Yes. I would say go ahead and make a willpower plus magic roll.
All right.
It's time for some dice. Since you're rolling digitally, I'll not make this sound.
Right into your microphone. And
Right for Carapa's sweet ears.
All right. That's a 17.
Oof.
I'll take 2.
That's a lot of success. You do feel that there is danger but the way in which you sense it is like a storm on the horizon. In other words, you don't sense danger from your base camp,
Right.
but you do sense that, like, it's almost like your sense of temporal magic kind of blends in with this, in the sense of, like, not soon, but you feel like off in the horizon there is danger, but not from your camp, but more from inland. You feel like, as if there was a storm on the horizon, you feel like that danger will come, but not imminently.
Okay. So our
Your
conversation
temporal senses feel like soon, but not really soon.
Gotcha. And that's Tuco, right?
Yes.
Take off. All right.
You also felt, because you had such a massive degree of success, you also felt the potential for danger from the sea. So kind of like
That makes sense.
from two directions, but more imminently from inland. So carry on. You guys are informing Durant to tell him.
We pull Durant to the side and say, hey, so while you were here, we were doing the hard work. And we saw some things we need to let you know.
Information is very hard work.
I mean,
Of course.
Cataloging and gathering information.
where do we start?
Yeah. So we flew around the island. We saw swamps, and we kind of gave them the general overlay of the topology of what we saw. But then we started to travel some more. Apparently, this island doesn't exist by itself.
Wait. You traveled more?
Yes, we traveled more.
Durant, like, visibly is breaking. Like, do you realize how hard it is to keep the information reasonable?
That's why we wanted to pull you aside and let you know before we told anybody else, so we could all come up with a plan together. We saw this island is not just by itself, but it's part of an archipelago of islands. We flew to another island where we saw a group of people, and we described kind of what we saw over there. We didn't interact with them. Sorry, go ahead.
So he describes that they flew over, and it was like a jungle canopied smaller island, like a good chunk of miles off the coast of the one that you're on. And in that jungle, they found an encampment with several dozen men who looked in various states of, dishevelment, worn clothing, not shaven, that kind of stuff. Their camp was very basic, but that on the beach of that island, before they even got to that jungle part, they saw small little structures that looked very old and abandoned.
Didn't we do some kind of time travel thing again, time sense, where we saw those structures somewhere else?
Yes.
And we saw they were the same.
Yes, and there was an area before you went to the island, there was an area where you had seen kind of ruins, and through the temporal magic, actually it was spiritual magic.
Yeah.
It wasn't
that was
temporal.
Riff when
He saw, like, basically this spiritual manifestation, like almost like an echo of what had been in the past in the spirit realm of this civilization of small people with similar structures. And there was a chieftain, kind of like a leader, a shaman of some kind, that was warning his people. But at the island, they saw, this encampment in the jungle, and they saw some boats on the other end, smaller kind of sailing boats that were also being guarded by some of those men.
And oh, by the way, and Riff shows like what's left of the bite mark.
Hmm.
It's like I was bitten by walking worm food, basically. Tuco was good enough to find a bloated corpse in the ocean. That
It looked like someone in distress, and
yeah.
honor required.
In Tuco's defense, he was trying to help someone in distress. But anyway,
We became in distress.
so we encountered this guy, whatever it was, and what was really strange, besides that it bit me, like I wasn't expecting that because we had thought we had killed it. It resembled Lord Trevor. from Dragon Falls. To me, which is weird because like I kind of remember him, and I know he was like he's probably a really great guy, but like I never thought of him in that way that I would see his face in someone else.
So you reconnected with my former business partner, is what you're saying.
Pretty much, and then but it was just momentary. Like it was almost like a brief illusion. So this creature or something around this island is messing with our memories.
I needed to go give assistance to someone in need. You saw someone you'd met before.
Well, then I just yeeted that thing out into the ocean.
Yeah, and we are assuming it's not coming back.
Like it was gone. The horizon.
Don't forget that someone dismantles its arms too.
Yeah, it didn't even have arms, and so it bit me.
Tuco cut its arms off.
Yes.
And so after it had its arms cut off, that's when Humphrey used his energetic magic to just anti-gravity it out into the ocean.
I mean, it was really important to get the proper aerodynamics on the corpse.
I basically said that, like, your arms are off. Like, just give up. And that's when it bit me. That's all it could do, literally. I mean, and by the way, it started to get infected. Do you remember your bite?
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if there's a way for us to use medicine and maybe come up with some kind of injection or something that can inoculate us to...
From zombie bites?
Things around here seem to be infectious.
I mean, that's not...
We could probably bring that to Captain Edwards and crew. I mean,
but I mean, I really wouldn't know how to begin with that. See, my...
And then, hey, who's got the plant? Where we found one of the plants that they were looking for.
Right.
Oh, Tuco, I think, picked that up.
Show him, Tuco.
Yeah, show it to him, because that's one of the things they wanted us to do.
Was that Captain Edwards?
Captain Edwards said,
Who has any ranks in nature?
Not it.
I don't think I do.
I do.
Nope.
You were provided with sketches by the botanists for what to look for, which is how you knew and you were able to identify the plants.
They have 2 in nature.
Okay, so you're certain that the samples that you collected are among the ones that were required or asked for by the botanists. So you know that should be provided to them as soon as possible, so that they can study it and preserve it or prepare it in whatever fashion they deem fit.
That'd be great if we can
preferably before everyone goes to sleep, as there's a certain perishable element to some of that plant's.
Would I have seen any documentation on the plants?
Yes, so Captain Edwards has a copy of all of the specimens, the plant specimens that the botanists are specifically looking for. So in your scribe work today, you would have seen all of their sketches and notes about those things.
So what is this plant and what is its purpose?
This specific one, I think it was the one that I mentioned that had the big red poppy with the long green stalk and the leaves. So it's a medicinal. It has multiple uses. The stalk itself can be boiled down and prepared with a certain degree of knowledge to provide to create kind of an anti-venom for poisons. The poppy itself can be prepared in a certain method to be a painkiller and basically a healing agent, to be basically distilled into a healing agent.
And would any of the plants that I came across in terms of identification, would any of them have like antiseptic properties?
Yes.
Properties that would allow for the treatment of like zombie bites per se?
Yes, and with the right knowledge of both nature and then medicine, you could prepare those into kind of like an inoculation.
On the picture, was there a name for this?
No.
I'm just thinking this is information we could share freely with the crew because they probably have some specialists or someone interested in such.
To that point, remember that Captain Edwards told you that this expedition was commissioned because another group had arrived at this island like a year prior and done a small amount of exploring and had identified valuable things.
I figured they were a shipwreck.
Obviously, some people from that group had returned to society.
Yes. and,
That's how they got the
therefore had
pictures and
provided
stuff.
the information,
Oh,
and
I
that
didn't know that.
in turn was part of the reason why the expedition was commissioned.
Interesting.
And that's why our second exploring portion, we wanted to go out and find the resources they were looking for, some of them, as many as possible.
And we never asked if any of that expedition was left behind, correct?
I think that would be good to.
That is
Make
correct.
certain,
You have
yeah.
not talked to Captain Edwards at length, at least, about what he may or may not know concerning the first discovery of this island.
So we need to determine what we want to tell and what we want to share out of all this. I say we just tell him everything we did.
Well, how far? I mean, he knows we can fly because he's seen us do that, right?
Does he remember though? Didn't you wipe his memory?
I didn't wipe that from his memory. I
Okay.
only wiped the conversation.
Well, that's true. We flew in
The beginning.
on the ship, or so it seemed.
So
Loaded
the
information.
question is, are we comfortable revealing that we can do that sort of on the regular?
I have no problem with
I mean,
it.
I've got the necklace, and we can say that we've got this magic device.
I'm not worried about any of these little peons. What could they possibly do to harm us? Have you seen our skills?
That seems a dangerous attitude, Master Humphrey.
Well, they don't call me master for nothing.
Okay. So, by the way, there seems to be a pretty good sized population of wild dogs, or something like wild dogs, on this island.
Yeah,
We had a couple encounters with that.
I feel like there's Hunger Games.
Yeah. So they look like what, hyenas, or
Yeah, they're very large. Like,
Are they like wolf size?
no, like
Dire wolf size?
No, like-
Or-
lion or tiger sized.
so we were stalked by some that we managed to turn away, but also in my vision of this village with the small people, some of these things came in, looked like they were attacking, followed by maybe some kind of powerful magic user.
So it seemed like they were trained.
They were either trained or they were obedient to the
Under control.
magic user, who came in and basically called them off. They left, and then you could see these little people and the magic user kind of having a standoff before he did something, and they were all on the ground like dead before he did something else, and they all were standing up again, and they followed him away.
Can you describe him?
He was kind of shadowy and silhouetted, but he seemed like a medium-sized, humanoid looking.
Yeah, he was
Person.
holding up his hand, and I feel like he had some kind of purple magical energy either in his hand, or maybe it was in his eyes or face somehow, and used that to
So
wipe out and rise up these little people.
a point of order, up until that point, we were the only ones that we know of that used magic. So we seemed much more powerful than anyone else around us. If there is, in fact, someone else of our capability, that could be a tactical disadvantage. They know the land. They know magic. We do not.
There are
I mean, we-
4 of us, and potentially one of them.
But again, this was way far in the past. I had spiritual vision, but it was also temporal. Don't know exactly how long ago in the past, but there wasn't, when we went and investigated the area, there was very little in terms of kind of ruins that were left of tents, huts and
Correct.
this kind of thing.
You had to literally dig just to find some base timbers from that.
So we don't know. Yeah.
So how honest do we want to be?
I have no problem telling them everything we know. I mean, what are we even doing here? What are we trying to do? Are we trying to get back home? Are we trying just to figure out what's going on with the island and see if we, this land is compatible with us?
We need knowledge right now. We have no idea where we are. Can we get home? Do we want to get home? What's going on here? We need knowledge before we can make.
I agree,
decisions.
Tuco, my loyal companion. You make a really good point. So,
It feels like an unfair voting block.
what do you mean?
There's two of you.
And there's two of you.
Are there, though?
I'm a little bit on the fence, but he is related to me, which can go either against him or for him.
Well, let's see if we can keep this friendly in the group here.
Look,
So
I'll go along with.
if you say they know we can fly already, then we have no problem revealing the knowledge that we got from flying.
Tactically, we should not be giving more information than we need to. We've only known these ship people for a few days. How much can we trust them?
Fine.
But at the same time, we want to alert them to the dangers they face. We
have to trust someone.
The full amount of our knowledge, but we need to at least warn them so that they can be prepared for the things that are to come.
So do we tell them that we flew to this other island or not?
Point of clarification, you were on the ship with them for a few days, coming to the island, and you've been on the island for more than a few days, establishing a base camp, that kind of stuff. So you've probably been in this world for about 10 days thus far.
Is it possible that this location, or maybe even just a story for them, that this location is bringing out magical abilities? That's why we have our abilities when we came into this area. And then maybe we can say, hey, we found other magical things in this area.
Tuco, make a perception plus magic roll.
This will be good.
8.
Yes, as you are ruminating on this possibility, it occurs to you, as you have long traveled with Master Humphrey, he does seem to possess an incredible amount of power in this place. Far more, you think, far more than what you previously understood or had discerned he was capable of wielding. You haven't seen Durant in the same position here, but you've sensed that your Master Humphrey does seem to have some kind of greater, increased ken of magical power here.
So, look, gentlemen, I understand that we all have to live together with these people for now. If you don't want to tell them about our magic, so be it. I don't personally see why that's an issue. But
yeah, but they need information, but we don't want to give too much information.
So if they know we can fly already, then we'll simply tell them that we use that ability to fly to do our exploration, and this is what we saw. We don't need to over-embellish or explain in detail about how we dispatched with this zombie or anything, but we can simply share some of the pure factual logistical information we've discovered.
I mean, definitely our creature encounters we could share with them. They've undoubtedly come across some of those themselves, right?
Undead creatures?
No, what did I say?
Which they may have come across them. They may have come across
undoubtedly,
them.
They've come across creatures like this, and also we can share the plant with them. I think it's...
Durant, you know something.
I do.
As Riff is saying this, you're like, no, they haven't. You've read all of the reports. You've read all of the notes from the other parties that have gone exploring.
That's a Durant thing.
And none of them have reported encountering anything weird in terms of creatures or beasts. Most of the reports have mentioned, like, small rodents, like monkeys, lizards, snakes, deer, wild boars, but nothing, fish, but nothing on the scale of anything that you guys have encountered thus far.
Will it panic them if we give them that information? They need to be prepared, but we don't want to cause undue concern at the same time.
Let me pose a question. We are not from this world, correct?
Something is different. I don't know what.
Yes, correct.
They are from this world, correct?
Presumably. So they were pulled in here from somewhere else.
Well, their maps
Chances are their lore has creatures like this in it, even if they have not experienced them here yet. Perhaps they have more information available.
let's share this information. There's no reason we can't share with our part with the larger party that there are dangers on the island that we came across that which they could have just as easily come across themselves.
Should we reduce the scope of like how much has been explored? Because that's kind of the tack that I have taken. Like their set of notes is much less complete than our set. Like here is our set of notes.
From a tactical perspective, I don't see a reason to do so. If they know we can fly, they know that we can explore the island.
Yeah, let's let them ask questions.
Yeah.
Like, how did you get so far? Or whatever. But let's just think more specifically, are there things we don't want to tell them versus going through everything? The unobtainium. Sorry.
Yeah, well, I don't have a better word for
it.
Like,
they know, we know that they want us to help find that. Is that something that we would keep secret, or are we ready to share?
We are an asset.
Encounter that.
Yeah, we are an asset to them. They need us. We possess skills and abilities that they don't.
But these discs and things we can probably leave out.
Agreed.
And also any of the times we've stepped into the past, I think.
Agreed.
Yeah.
The depth of our magical capabilities, absolutely not. But our mere ability to fly,
But they know already.
Investigate, and some factual things that were discovered. No problem sharing that. How do you feel about that, Durant?
I guess I'm pulling an all-nighter then.
To write the report.
Rewrite the report.
Fix the omissions that I have included.
You need to get yourself a scribe.
Any takers?
I would be willing to assist.
Interesting. Okay.
Riff, you, like a cold wind, literally feel like a chill. Like danger is imminent.
Is this
And
my
like
lingering sense
and it
danger?
still feels, yes, it still feels like a storm on the horizon, but that storm is close and you feel like a cold wind. Coming from inland.
Did you guys feel that? Like a cold breeze just now?
You did not.
You mentioned before that you have some kind of tattoo or something on the back of your neck. Is this related to that?
Got, yeah, my birthmark.
But was the wind going to that or just in general?
No, I just felt it.
Sounds like you need a coat, my friend.
Let's go over closer to the bonfire.
Okay.
If you're cold, I suppose it's a good.
Let's find.
Good place for you to take notes.
Let's find Captain Edwards.
Okay. You guys move into the camp. You see Captain Edwards is standing over by one of the stones, raising a toast to a few of the people. Captain Edwards turns to you and he walks over and he says, gentlemen, he says, it's wonderful to have everyone here. He's like, it's been a very productive day.
Yes, we have much to tell you about our journey today.
Excellent. Please share.
Well,
you have the plant sample.
Oh, yeah.
So you start with
So you asked us to find some of these samples. We believe we have found a few of them, and I show it to him.
Superb. He's like, if you wouldn't mind bringing it over to the command tent, and then he turns to one of the botanists and instructs them to follow you, and they follow you. A few minutes later, you come back. Tell me what else? What discoveries?
Well, we made a lot of great progress, Captain. We were able to follow the coast and figure out sort of a lot of the island topology, and we kind of share from a climate and topological perspective, a cartography perspective, what we came across.
He seems very interested in, as you explain the fact that there are other collar islands, and that this is part of a bigger archipelago. He says, yes, we have not yet explored any of those smaller islands, he says, but I feel like we're getting close once we've, established the base camp and a few more explorational journeys around this region of this larger island. I'm certain that we should take some of the smaller boats and explore those islands.
But you're aware Master Durant has done the updates, documentation and
Yes.
stuff, but we have just arrived back, so we need to make some updates, obviously.
Oh yes, by all means.
So, are you aware? Are you aware of anybody else who might be on this island or on any of the other islands, other than yourself?
No, not to my knowledge. I don't know that there are any indigenous people of this island. Of course, we've only explored a small part of it, but not that I'm aware of.
Then would you be surprised to say through our explorations we found a small encampment of people? We didn't make contact with them, but we observed, n number of people, and they had in various states of disarray, disheveled, ragged clothes, but didn't look indigenous.
Were they clothes like the captain wears here?
Yes, some of them had armor, light armor, but a lot of them looked like, the kind of crew that you have here, but in much more worn clothing.
Yes.
Is it possible there were survivors from an earlier expedition?
To my knowledge, everyone survived. The discovery of this island was only perhaps a year and a half ago, and I believe that the original ship that had gone off course and accidentally came across this island and returned to port in Arakazine.
Our commission from O'Shale,
Yes.
do you potentially have any competitors that would also be interested in this island?
I would not be surprised. Many of the trade companies are looking for opportunities to create settlements and even eventually ports so that it makes the journey to some of the other continents easier. If this island, for example, were suitable to eventually establish settlements, then trade ships could dock here, resupply fresh water, fresh food, that sort of thing, before moving on to other locations and other destinations. So I of course would not be surprised if other noble houses, companies, and whatnot would have a vested interest in such a thing.
If we found a rival trading company, what would your orders be from their headquarters? Would you be able to coexist with them on this island, or would there be competition?
We do not have a royal decree, so we could not legally, I suppose, make any acts of war if there was, for example, another noble house commissioning an expedition. But we do have the claim for where we are right now on the island. That's undisputable by law in the Kingdom of Einfeis. Now, if it were another kingdom, if it was another sovereign nation, or even another company from another location, the island chain of Nicaea, for example, would, there are many companies.
Are we able to
or
expand?
One of the Borean noble families.
Are we able to expand the claim, or is that just defined legally somehow?
I'm not a scholar in these matters, but to my knowledge, everything that we explore and map on this island, as we were the primary source for this, is covered under the claim.
Okay, so we didn't make contact with this group, but we've shared the information we found about them. And so as we departed that area and made our way back, we came across something that was most disturbing. And to explain that, I'd like to call Riff to explain that, who suffered a grave injury, but has since been healed.
Really? What did you encounter?
Well, we had a couple encounters with some kind of wild dogs that seem to roam around in small packs on the island here. I don't know if you guys have encountered any of those.
Not to my knowledge. In the compilation, did you discover any reports of such things, Durant?
No, I did not.
I'm shocked by this.
You've
noted the location where this encounter took place. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and but we saw them we saw one pack from a distance that I don't think noticed us or didn't bother with us in one location. In a further location, they basically stalked us. They just showed up and
Well, it's important that such things be noted so that we are aware of any potential hazards in certain areas.
Riff shows his bite, and also I was bit by something.
Something. One of these dog creatures?
No.
Well,
we can share that. We agreed we could share that.
It was more like, how do I say this?
Yeah,
An abomination.
It was an abomination. It was a corpse that seemed to act like it was alive, but not.
But it also seemed to change our perception of what was real with it. Correct? I thought it was in distress, and
so we saw
thought
a corpse,
it was someone that he
I thought it might be someone we knew.
We saw a corpse floating in the water in the ocean, and Tuco, out of the goodness of his soul, went to investigate and see if it was a person that perhaps needed aid. Upon approaching, it attacked Tuco, who was, of course, able to fend this creature off, with his skills. However, Riff did not have that same luck, and it bit him.
And there was an infection. We were fortunately able to stop.
This is troubling. I'm glad that you're okay, and certainly this is something we must be aware of. I've not encountered such things here thus far, nor have I heard of any things as we've sent shifts back and forth between the ship in the harbor. But perhaps
I feel my skills would be useful in handling something of that nature.
yes, of course.
It's not the only thing we've encountered since we first arrived here that seems to be able to bring disease or poison. So we're hopeful that you may have some among your crew who are skilled or at least knowledgeable in developing, medicines and treatments for these kinds of things.
The botanists are indeed skilled in such domains and could in time provide certain beneficial elements to be able to use to protect us. Certainly, that is a noteworthy idea. He says, well, I am deeply grateful for the knowledge that you have amassed thus far. Your services to this expedition are beyond value. Truly, I'm grateful beyond words. He says, I imagine that you are all hungry. There is still some food if you would like to eat. And I think in due time, shortly, we'll probably suggest to the rest of the crew that we be in shifts for sleeping and have a watch.
Yeah, we're hungry. And what do you guys do for entertainment around here? Anything? Do you guys have music or something?
Well, just before you arrived, two of the fellows were singing songs and playing some music while we enjoyed our dinner. And sometimes we'll gather around the fire and tell tales and that sort of thing. You should join us. Grab a plate and we'll sit by the fire.
Absolutely. Let's do that.
Okay. Edwards walks over, talks to the botanist. They begin laying out the samples on their kind of work tables that they've set up, and they're taking notes and writing down things and sketching things, and they begin kind of preparing the different components of the plant samples. You guys grab some plates of food and tankard of ale, and you all sit around the fire. Some of the men are there, and they're telling tales of seafaring and battles on the waters and fighting pirates along the western coast of Arakazine, and it fills in some time. Do you contribute any tales to the fireside chats?
Sure. Anyone else want to do that first?
Our giants. We got a few.
A tale of giants.
Actually, hold on. Was Humphrey there for that? Or was that a hacker?
Shows Humphrey.
Okay. Why don't you tell Riff? Why don't you share our tale of giants?
Well, I don't really have a tale of giants, but I do have a little shanty / jig that I thought might be good for livening up.
There you go.
Spirits and things. If y'all are interested in some music.
Yes, of course. The men are like, yes, huzzah!
Cool. So Riff sets its plate down and he gets up, and presumably some of the crew and everyone are sitting around.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Kind of a
There's
circle.
a big group in the circle. Yeah, there are about 12 people around the circle.
So Riff starts stomping his foot on the ground. So it's like stomp, 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 stomp.
Some of the other guys start picking up the percussive pace.
Stomp, stomp, yeah.
They're taking their wooden spoons and hitting up against their stew bowls, you know.
Yeah, so he's basically walking around the circle, making sure there gets a good rhythm going.
Yeah, they start to pick it up.
So stomp, stomp, ready, go. And then Riff does a better job of actually singing. But, you know. So there once was a ship that sailed by chance. The name of that ship was the Vengeance. The waves they crashed, but the bow held fast as the winds began to blow. Someday the whaler men come to bring that sugar and spiced rum. Someday when our job is done, we'll take our leave and go. The days grew longer with rain and thunder when something large came up from under. The captain knew he'd have a tale, 'cause every crew has its whale. Someday the whaler men come to bring that sugar and spiced rum. Someday when our job is done, we'll take our leave and go. Da 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 da. He wants the stomping to keep going.
People keep it going. They're getting into it. They're clapping along with it, and they're adding extra elements, and they're kind of humming along and picking up the tune.
He wants the crew to keep like going with the da-da-das. He goes over and he offers like an arm to Captain Edwards to come up and dance a little jig with them.
Edwards comes up and dances a jig, and the men are clapping for it, and they're excited.
So basically, and there's like a cadence to this. So it's like they're arm in arm going around the fire, and it's like stomp, stomp, stomp. And like Riff goes like this, and Captain Edwards is supposed to like meet his hand, so he's like,
and he high fives you,
and then it's like stomp, 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 and then swing your foot around. So they both swing their foot around, and supposed to like hit the bottom of their feet together.
Yes, you see that Edwards seems to pick up this dance, and doesn't kill it, but doesn't fail.
Okay, so that goes on for a couple minutes or whatever.
You see a few of the other guys in the circle get up and kind of do the do-si-do with the arms hooked and stuff, and the high fives and the claps.
So, okay, so it's like at the end when it's kind of fading out a little bit, Riff looks at Captain Edwards. She's like, "You or me this time?"
He says, "It's all yours."
Okay, so Riff goes down and basically like puts his hands down to see if Captain Edwards knows to put his foot.
Edwards sees the cue, puts his foot up.
Okay, and Riff basically flips him up, hoping that Captain Edwards will do a nice backflip and land on his feet.
We'll see if Edwards manages the backflip. Hey, look at that.
He breaks his neck.
He kills the backflip. That's a 14. The crowd loses their minds as Edwards not only performs the backflip, but manages to keep his tricorn hat on while doing it.
And so part of this was Riff still can't shake this feeling like he's sailed with a Captain Edwards before. He's trying to find some kind of familiarity or relationship. And so this was something that Captain Edwards would have known. And like the name of the ship was the Vengeance.
Yes.
And he, by the way, and he's like, what is your ship called, by the way? Do you have a name for your ship, Captain Edwards?
It will be my ship someday.
It's not.
But I don't own it.
Okay. So you can't really have a name for it yet.
It is the Sweet Revenge.
The Sweet Revenge. That's good.
Vengeance.
Someday I hope to amass enough wealth and fortune. And by the way, the crowd like applauding, cheering. Go ahead and just for giggles, make me the willpower plus performance roll. And you get to add an extra D4 because of the actual performance.
Yeah.
All right. So if it's good enough, they'll just like shower me with treasure. I'm kidding. I think this is my first performance roll, which is so weird because that used to be everything that Riff was about. It only gave me 4 dice. It should be 7 dice. It's a 4, but on the floor, but I won't count it. 8, 9, 10, 12. Wow. 22.
Wow, 22. Okay, so here's what happens.
Panties and throw
What level of mental magic do you have?
4.
Something happens when this performance ultimately culminates. You see that the people in the circle, the crew that was part of this, and Captain Edwards, and even you guys, you feel so like refreshed, renewed, and inspired. Like you feel like this has really brought people together, and you will gain the benefit of being able to carry over a D4 to add to any roll as a one-time bonus.
Great. Is there inspiration in this?
That's what he just did.
You gave us all inspiration.
Yes.
You inspired.
Riff
Minus off one qua.
Riff has Riff is just like got a real smile on his face. He's like, he feels like Riff at least for a little bit again.
Yeah, you feel like it's really brought everybody together, and the mood is just so much lighter. And then you feel danger, and that metaphor of the wind. You feel not just a slight cold breeze, but like almost a torrential push of cold air coming from inland, from the northwest. And it is like right now feeling.
Okay.
Like something very bad is about to happen.
Like Riff is like the smile. There's probably some people looking at him as he's just finished.
Yeah, everybody's in a great mood. They're all like happy.
So his smile
that have been drinking.
His smile goes, his like real big smile just starts to melt, and he's got a look of concern on his face. He's like, everybody, ready yourselves. Whatever.
Okay, I'm going to need you to put some things on the board. Oh boy. I need you to put all of those in that corner. Riff, you turn, and despite the large size of the bonfire, you don't really see specifically what's coming, but you see the silhouette from the moonlight of a big group of large shapes running at full speed towards the camp.
Probably more in the front.
As part of one concentrated group?
Yeah. Kind of like the shape of an arrow. So put like a few of them up front and then like kind of fanning out.
Maybe something like that.
Yeah. And you see these, Riff, you're the only one that gets this danger sense. Everybody else is smiling, laughing, having drinks, but you get this sense and you kind of look over your shoulder in the direction from where you felt the danger coming, and you see like silhouettes of large creatures moving. Like,
would Durant pick up on that motion? Like the fact that Riff turned around.
Make a perception plus social manipulation roll.
Yay. Stuff is
If we can
happening.
keep them together.
And
I'm gonna blow.
also Tuco, when he says, hey, prepare yourselves, would he have some kind of sense?
Same thing. Make a perception plus social manipulation roll.
It's a total of 13.
So you pick up definitely that Riff is like looking in that direction.
So
you also don't see anything because it's beyond the light provided by the bonfire.
I think what Durant would like to do is move up to Riff's side, just to be...
Okay, go ahead and move your minis.
Which one is Riff?
The one with the bow with the sword.
Oh. Tuco, what'd you get?
I got 3.
Okay, you're not sure why Riff would just ruin this awesome mood. You're like, everybody's having a great time. Why would you, you're just not sure.
Edwards, ready your men with weapons.
Ready for what?
We've got incoming something from the northwest. Look.
He says, arms, to arms. And you see everybody like in a state of confusion, like, what is going on? And a few people start like reaching for swords. Some of them run off towards tents to get their weapons. Some of them kind of just seem to be in a state of confusion, like, what's going on?
And I'm aware, and I can see these guys.
You can't see them, but you're aware of where Riff's looking.
Okay. I don't know if I can't see it.
All right,
Anybody
Riff,
see?
you have one move. before it's time.
Oh my gosh. Oh,
That's what it
So how far can we move and around? And
This pencil is the measure of your movement.
okay. Well, Durant is going to try to close rank and get sort of as close to that
Okay.
vector of danger.
So we're going to go in this order. Riff, you're first. Then Humphrey, then Durant, then Tuco.
Okay.
So you get your 2 actions. You can move, you can double move, you can move into an action, you can move and then be ready for a defensive maneuver.
right. And I can see something. I
You
can
see the
these guys.
silhouettes of these guys running towards you, and it's almost as if your danger sense is providing you with a little more
Sure.
awareness of these moving towards you versus like actual light from the moon.
Is there anything I could think that I would be able to, some kind of spell I could share to give sight to others nearby?
Do you have
Like ghost sight, as if these are on the spirit realm.
you want to activate that? Sure. What is that, a 2?
It's a 1.
So if it's a 1 and then you want to provide that to your comrades, you would ramp that up for a total of 4 qua.
Okay. And can I add Captain Edwards too?
Yes. So that'd be 5 qua.
Okay.
Now make me a willpower plus magic roll, and this may determine if there's any greater efficacy than just the basic ability.
17.
Wow. All right, 2 things happen. This idea comes to you. You activate this amongst yourself first, and you immediately see that these forms are undead, right? These are undead, unnaturally animated physical bodies. The size of them is similar to something that you feel you saw before. When you guys were at the river and you did the temporal sensing history, you saw giants. These look like large creatures, skeletal, creatures that have been magically animated that are running full speed at you guys right now, but they're of the same size as the giants that you saw in that past flash of history.
Giant skeletons, yay.
The other thing is that because of the significance of your role, you see a greater depth of that, and there's something familiar about the magic that has animated these, because you feel like it's the same magic as when you saw the spirit echo and you saw that wizard lift his hands up and all those corpses animated. So there's something very similar in the your understanding suddenly of this necromancy that has brought these around, and it's powerful.
Okay.
You guys, out of the blue, because he didn't explain that this was happening, all of a sudden you see through your normal eyes, but you see this kind of ghostly black and white spectral vision as well. And you see this huge group of large skeletons who are have partial armor, shields, weapons, running full speed at this camp right now. Okay. So that was your magical activation. Yeah. Do you want to move, or do you want to have a defense?
Can I use an item too?
Yes.
All right, because I've got the harp of calm emotions from the old days, and I want to.
You want to?
So weird.
You want?
I was just singing and dancing, and then I freaked out and arms, and then I pull out my harp as if everything's fine. I start playing music again.
Okay. Do you try to calm? Do you try to inspire courage? What is the tone of basically what key are you playing in and what rhythm, such that is it meant to calm everyone? Okay. Is it meant to inspire courage in them?
Right. So my first thought was towards the attackers, but given that they're undead, I'm thinking it's likely not to affect them, to try to make them less aggressive. So I think what you were saying and sort of inspire everyone and give everyone courage in the face of whatever this is. That
Okay. So in effect, what the harp allows you to do is a mental magic effect. So
it's like, dun, dun,
yeah, you're going to make another willpower plus magic roll. Now I know that the difficulty is higher from a meta perspective. As the GM, I'm setting the difficulty higher because there's a current ambience of fear right now.
Gotcha. 23.
Oh, that's yeah. So you somehow begin playing the harp, and it's inspiring people to take courage, right? And you see people that were previously like looking around in sort of a panic. They're like reaching to the ground and grabbing like a club, and some people are picking up like wood from the fire, like almost as a torch, and they're like, kind of readying themselves to face the direction where you're looking. All right, you're up, Humphrey.
Okay, so I see this
spectral vision.
Okay.
Is suddenly reveals this large contingent of these giant skeletons running towards you.
Run to a good spot where you can get them all lined up.
Okay, so I got a couple of.
Remember that you guys didn't get a long rest. So whatever quai you had from the last session, that's all you got left.
I have some. Hold on, your calming thing, what did that do?
That's to give courage to all of us.
It didn't do any effect to these guys.
Nope.
Okay. So do I have the ability to, I know I can cast safety on one person. Can I make it an area effect?
Who are you safetying?
All. So safety here creates a field of emotional calm around the subject in order to reduce aggressive opponents' intent to attack. They must make a willpower check to overcome.
That's mental?
Yes. I have no idea if it's mental.
That's what I thought.
I'm gonna have you make a perception plus magic roll first.
Okay.
Because something.
Because of reasons?
Maybe Humphrey will figure this out, or maybe he won't.
Yeah. If you're listening to me talking about my harp.
Durant's already figured it out. Yeah, I think Dave has figured it out. I don't know.
Well, but that makes sense. I'm sure Durant would figure that out because Durant has the prior history as a cleric.
Yeah.
Wait, one, two, one. Oh, wait, I'm missing some shit. No, I'll just roll it on here. Sorry.
So one thing, I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to say that Bren, the Nizak, when like two arms happened, he like also grabbed a club and like ran up alongside Captain Edwards. These people, upon hearing the call to arms, they also kind of moved up.
Okay, I got 21.
Okay. You feel like this mental magic may not work against these foes.
Do I do this before?
There's this arcane kind of knowledge from your previous studies in wizardry, where you weren't a student of the necromantic school, but you had learned the basics, and you felt that oftentimes mental magic didn't work against the undead.
Okay, but do fireballs?
I mean, you are and always have been a big fan of the fire. So
you never used to question
that's cracked. Doesn't matter what world you're in. You're like, that would seem intuitive to Humphrey. Like, just burn it. Just burn it all.
Just move it.
All right. Yeah. So
it's a 5 foot diameter. So I would like to bump up that diameter.
So put a pencil in the middle of them and just rotate it and see how far you can reach. So that's 15 diameter, or that's 30 diameter.
Table.
So you could.
I can get all but one.
Well,
or two.
Maybe the outside.
Yeah,
guys.
you. I would say 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 3, 4.
The front 4.
Yeah, you could hit like the front 4. So hold the pencil over it, Andy, and then just kind of measure. Yeah, so the front 4 you could probably hit in one boosted blast.
Sorry, I didn't gather them closer when I first set them up.
Are they view of the camera?
The other thing
So
I could do is I
They're off.
I
They're
still
off
have my
camera
time
right
stop thing, don't I?
Yes. Is that something you want to do?
No, probably not. I could use that for particularly.
I mean, how much quad do you have right now?
19.
Okay. So you could boost. I mean, if you wanted to boost your fireball, how much does the quad cost for the fireball?
I don't know. Listen,
It's a level. Is it a level 3 or 4?
I don't know. I don't have that in the character sheet.
Read the description.
Creates an orb of flame a range of 90 feet, causing 2d4 plus 2 damage. Size of the orb is 5 feet in diameter.
Okay, so you're going to spontaneously create a fireball that's going to boom over them.
Imagine it'd be 4 quad.
You're going to upcharge it to double. 5, 10, 20. Yeah, a 20. If you upcharged it, so if you blew 6 qua, you could get all of them in the fireball.
Let's do 6
Don't
qua.
forget you guys are all inspired for one more die. Is that right? From the
Yes. So a 6 qua fireball expands the radius of that, but also the damage. Yeah. So now we need to find out if your focus on fire enhances the damage. So first make another willpower plus magic roll.
Okay, so that would be 8d4. Okay, it is 18.
Okay, so that's 2 steps above. So now you're going to roll 8d4 for damage.
Jesus Christ. Yeah.
So each one of them is going to be
20.
Oh my. All right. There is a bright, I mean, imagine this is nighttime, right? So like the only actual light for anyone is the bonfire. You see a explosion, an enormous explosion with a 20-foot radius, so 40 feet wide in that area that just goes boom.
Also, where did you run to before?
That's a good point.
So you can run a full pencil closer. So if you were there, that's as
Maybe up high.
this is where you need to be in order to have.
You jump in the straight.
Poor tree doesn't exist anymore.
So here's what I need you to do, Andy: is move each of them like an eraser and metal part out from the center. So basically, move them like a half-inch away from the center of where they are now, because the fireball is so significant that it blows them out further.
What about this guy?
Yep. Back. Yep. And then the other one's back a little bit too. So this eruption of this orb of flame, this massive explosion, lights up the sky, like lights up the entire camp for just, this 3-second eruption. Everybody in the area is briefly blinded for one round.
Everyone can now see them too, right? Not just us.
Yeah. You did not hear screams of pain. Like, if that had happened to anyone else, you would have heard some sound, some reaction, some screams of pain. You do not hear that. But you do see that with your ghost sight, that it stopped their momentum. It basically, like, disrupted them, and they're all kind of, like, stunned for a moment. Which brings us to Durant.
But they're all still standing.
Okay, so Durant is going...
And they're scorched. I mean, like, the bones are charred.
For line of sight, well, would Durant be blinded? That's a question.
You're blinded physically, but your the ghost sight still works.
Could I stumble forward to get line of sight? Like
yes.
maybe up onto this.
You can. Yep.
Could I move up onto that?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a 5-foot move up, and you have more than 30 feet to be able to do that.
Okay.
So you get up to there.
Yeah, I'm going to try to get as close as I can from a flanking sort of position.
Okay.
And then what I am going to do is I'm going to use a combination of spiritual magic and energetic magic, if I can do that.
Describe what it is that you're trying to do. That's not a spell and going to cost a lot of quad.
Yeah.
Oh, it's going to cost a lot of quad because I'm going to boost the hell out of it.
Okay. All right.
Effectively, what I want to do is just send I saw the fireball.
Who didn't?
I want to make a holy ball to follow it up.
Okay.
I like it. I like it.
that.
Big ball, Durant.
So, I'm just going to try to one-up Humphrey. The problem is I have half as many dice.
So, energetic, what level of energetic?
I have 1 of energetic and 2 of spiritual.
Okay, so here's what you can do and what you can't do.
Okay.
You cannot spontaneously create a fireball.
Okay.
But you could use his fireball as the fuel to manipulate the energy from his fireball into spiritual energy that would do damage.
That is what I will do.
So
Yes, please.
your energetic is enough for you to understand that that could be fuel. Your 2 in spirit is converting the energy to spirit, but it's not going to do the same amount of damage. If you had spirit 3, it would definitely be radiant level fire damage. So it's basically a little bit of a watered down version of Holy Ball because you just don't have high enough ranks yet in that.
So I couldn't like spend more qua to boost that in addition.
You can't spend more qua to boost the damage. So it'll do the damage that you roll, but it will have a spiritual damage effect. It just won't be as powerful.
Would it negate some of the power of the fireball? That's my question.
No.
Okay. All right.
No. So
It's power enough for all.
You're going to need to make as well. You'll make a willpower plus religion roll.
Okay.
Because what you are trying to do is emulate the magic that you used to have.
So willpower and religion. So that's 5 dice. So 6, 8. So that's 10.
Okay, so you succeed. Now roll 2d4 for the radiant damage.
Can I spend my extra inspired D4 at this point?
Yes, you can.
I will add that.
You can blow the inspiration because you believe so much in
Savak Baku.
Savak Boku.
Right. I will get that right eventually.
You got it, man.
All right. So I'll be rolling for that, and that is 7.
7 more on top of 20. Okay, you see that their bones kind of like they don't crumble, but you see that they're like pulsating as if like there's something with that spiritual energy that you used that's impacting their ability to remain animated. Tuco.
So Tuco feels behind the behind the 8 ball, and he really wants to get up and get into battle. Is there a way for him to give him more actions per turn?
What level of time do you have?
I think I have 1. Temporal. Oh no, I have 2.
Make a willpower plus magic roll.
Willpower. Magic.
I would have assumed
7
would be more of like a fighter's innate ability just to have more.
So you cannot get more rounds, but you can advance your movement. Basically, your temporal understanding shows you how to get to an opponent the fastest possible way.
Okay.
So you can basically achieve a double move. So 2 pencils worth of movement, and then you get your whatever you're going to do for your action.
So you can like parkour your way over to the.
Okay.
So, or if you just want to blow your entire action economy using that, you basically get 3 pencils of movement. So
he's got to get
you are
there.
Pencil guy.
You're at least 3 pencils away.
Okay.
This guy.
So one, flip it.
How much quad does that take? I've only got 4.
2
here.
All right. Perfect.
So like to here would be the.
And I'm going to go
and then from the tree to what?
just a single double move, so I have 1 more action left
Okay,
after
so
that.
he's by the tree.
Here.
What's the pencil of record?
Oh wait.
Like the
longest
master
one on the
pencil,
table.
right?
So first action was casting that spell.
No, not really.
Okay.
Because you were sensing. You weren't really changing time.
What was it?
You were sensing what time is going to cost you. Like, so you figured out how to do the double move, but you still have an action.
Okay, then I'm going to go defensive.
Okay, so you kind of like move up to a position between the tree and the tent on the perimeter with your blades out, and you're ready to go. Okay, Andrew, here's what you need to do. I need the 3 guys on that far side to move 2 full pencils forward into the camp.
Are they just going to go right by?
One of them's going to run up to Tuco. Yep, leave him there. The other 2 are going to go around the tree, 2 full pencils into the camp. So 1 should be able to make it to Durant. Yep.
Durant.
On the hill.
I'm on the
No, other side. Like, not up the hill, but on the other side of the hill.
Like over here.
He's got the high
But
ground.
down. But down. Yeah.
There you go.
2.
All right. And then the back guy just, yep.
Same way.
1 more. Yep.
Clearly, he's going to be a little bit behind that guy.
All right. And then those guys are all going to come on the other side of the tent where Tuco is. 2 full pencils for as far as they can go. Yeah. So if you move the lead guy up, that gets into those people.
Oh, crap.
Yep.
Can I just make them all a little bit behind?
Exactly. So they start pouring into that area.
These are nice and lined up.
They are charred. The bones are literally making a noise, like a vibrating bone noise, but they are moving forward.
What that means? What's a vibrating bone?
Like this.
Oh, rattling.
Oh, they're
But super fast.
I think another
Fast rattle.
rattlesnakes.
GP.
Okay, so Tuco, you were in a defensive position.
Yes.
Okay, so you're going to roll your agility plus melee for your defensive roll, and you're going to tell me what that total is.
Where's melee? Melee weapons?
Yeah.
$20.
Wow. It works. My mechanics work. Okay, so had you not rolled as successfully, right? Say you'd only rolled 1 step above a success, you would have decreased the amount that he had succeeded, right? He had a 16. You had a 20. You completely parry the attack. So this huge fucking skeletal giant is about to impale you with a spear that's taller than you. And he comes down and you're like, ka-ching! And you kind of like side swipe the spear to the side and it just plants into the rocks and the dirt. Durant, similar situation. Large giant lunging at you with this spear. You did not save anything for a defensive maneuver, or you did?
I did not.
15, that's a hit with a notch. You are going to need to take, that's 9 plus 4 is 13. What's your soak on?
My soak is 6.
Okay, so that's 7. So knock off the durability, and then you're going to take 7 health. This spear blasts through your armor and just gouges into your side.
Sorry, how much health?
So you soak 6.
I soaked 6 of 7.
So you take
Let's
7.
see if the crew get to do anything.
Yeah.
Okay, so the lead one on the...
Oh, wait, did you move any of the crew up?
Yeah, I did. Well, I moved them up when you guys called for 2 arms. So next round they'll be in a position. So the 2 that are about to be attacked. And wow, 14, 16, 17. Oh no. 12, 16 damage. Do me a favor, Andy, and knock over the guy that's cutting wood. He's dead. Yep.
This guy.
No, the other guy.
This guy.
Yep, dead.
Oh,
8, 12, 17.
They are
11. Okay, that guy's not dead, but he's very wounded. Okay. Then NPCs. So we're going to move these guys up to fight those giants. So move these 2 guys and this guy. They're all moving forward to fight the giant skeletons. These 2 guys move up to the around the corner, but at ground level to fight those guys. Yes. This guy is moving up to here.
Oh, that's... isn't that one of ours?
Oh, that's Riff. Yeah.
Yeah.
This guy's going to move here. Captain Edwards is going to move up to there. Bren the Nizhak is going to move up to there.
Nice to hear.
These guys are moving here. This guy's just going to drink beer. All right. So, top of the order, Riff, you're up.
All right. Riff is going to take off.
You saw Durant get a huge hit.
So I'm going to run up like near Durant. Can I run that far?
Yes.
And like tell Durant, I've got to look for whoever's behind this. Riff's got the feeling there's someone nearby, hopefully controlling these guys. Kind of run up and look in the direction of
Ghost Sight,
where they
Perception
came
plus
from.
Magic.
Yeah.
So if you're specifically looking for that, it's Perception plus Magic, and because you have Ghost Sight activated, it's a lower difficulty. So you just need to tell me what you roll. As long as you clear an 8, you're gonna have.
You said Perception and Magic.
Yes.
8.
Okay. For as far as you could see, like, let's just say Ghost Sight 100 yards, right? You're like, you spend one of your actions just looking out. You don't see any other spirit sources, any other undead, any other magical entities who might be involved in this magic.
Okay. So at the same time he was running up and looking, he's getting his bow ready. Can he fire a shot at the one that hit?
Yes. Yeah, you're far enough away. So you can shoot at the one that just stabbed Durant.
Yeah. And that would be archery plus.
Rafa, can you see the map of the minis? Okay.
The archery plus what? Agility or what on that?
Precision.
Precision.
Yeah. Archery is precision plus archery. Thrown weapons are precision plus thrown.
Where's Tuco?
Right between the tree and the tent.
Tuco's got his own. What'd you
I
get?
got an 11.
Okay, that's a hit. Go ahead and roll the damage for your longbow. So you didn't.
2d4 plus
Yeah, because it's just a standard hit. You're not going to add anything.
Yeah. 7.
7. That drops that one.
Yeah, that's what you get for hurting my brother.
Thank
He's
you.
sort of knock
Brother.
over because he's giant.
But there's a guy right behind him.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Humphrey. Your fireball definitely did stuff. Like every one of these skeletons is like just charred.
So there's 5 of these guys here.
Yeah, there's a whole pile of them pouring into the camp.
Can I eat these guys 5 of these guys straight up in the air and then drop them?
Energetic magic.
Which I have.
Manipulating the gravity field to send them off quickly. Is how much is that? It's the same cost as flight. So yeet is not an official spell though.
No, it should be. I mean, it's effectively super magic.
Well, it's levitate. You have levitate,
I do.
don't you?
I mean, I have the ability to have that.
You have fly, right?
I
He does
mean,
fly.
no, not as known spell.
What's the cost for levitate?
Oh, I do have fly. Sorry.
Yeah, what's the cost for fly?
5.
5 fly.
But it says that's what I got written for whatever
I
reason.
don't think that's right.
It was probably 4. I remember it being 4.
Okay, so you want to add a target for each one. 5. There's 5 guys right there. 5. So basically, yeah, it would be 9.
Okay.
9 qua.
For these 5 guys.
Yes. Now make the roll anyway, because if you have step above successes, then you can send them further away.
What am I rolling?
Willpower plus magic.
Okay.
You should be pretty familiar with that by this point.
Yeah, right. 21.
Come on. All right. So
84. So
basically, that's 4 steps above success. So you can yeet them.
Well, I think you were just saying you're going to yeet them straight up.
Yeah.
Just as far, are you? So you're basically going as far up as they go.
yeah, for them to take terminal fall damage.
Okay.
And you can't pull them
Basically,
faster
that's
down.
what's going to happen. So you send you're just like
Suborbital.
right. Much like the corpse rocket that you sent.
I'll let you do that.
These guys go straight up for a half mile.
Okay.
It's going to take him a while.
So don't even put them back on the table because,
So fall tomorrow at some point.
well, I mean, the yeet itself is going up. Like, so that's your round. You're done. What are you doing?
Point of clarification: how much claw did my spontaneous magic spending?
Can't unsee.
So it was 3.
It was a
3 claw.
dice, so it's 3 claw for that.
Yeah.
Okay. Just want to make sure I do the bookkeeping. So there's one standing.
Well, there's one rushing towards the 2 guys that are below the hill from you.
Can I use both my actions?
Yeah.
To do 2 holy bolts,
Yes.
like just straight line, spiritual plus
Oh, I got 4.
energetic.
Yep.
You're good. You just got rid of 5.
All right.
Yeah.
You could do that.
Okay, that's a thing I will do.
So this is another spontaneous, right?
Yeah.
This is the
So-
one right here.
So it'll be 3 qua plus 3 qua for it's 3 qua per bolt.
Okay. Yeah. So my roll for that is willpower plus
Religion.
religion. Okay, so that's 5 dice. Okay. So that's 11 plus 4, 15 total.
Okay. So that's going to be 2d4 of damage.
Okay, and that's the first one.
Yep.
The second one is not as good. That's for 7 total. So that one I probably miss, I
Yeah.
guess. Yeah.
It's not that you missed. It doesn't have enough radiant fuel to do damage.
Okay.
So roll the damage for the successful one.
Okay. I will do that. That's 5.
So 5 more, so it's 12, 32. It does the vibrational, the bones start to vibrate super fast again, and then it just goes, like it pops. And all the socket, the thing just crumbles to the ground.
Oh, that's really cool.
They're hard to knock over.
Die. Tuco, you are faced with a foe who is trying to skewer you. You successfully parried this massive spear, but it's your turn.
And he looks quite injured.
He is charred and vibrating.
All right, well, let's just go for the
You're
first.
not really sure what the vibration's about.
Okay.
But he's charred.
I'm just going to go with attack with my scimitar, magic scimitar.
Okay.
So that is
Agility plus melee.
agility plus melee.
So you're doing 2 attacks, right? So roll for the first attack. Or are you doing an attack and then defense?
I'm going to see if it kills him
Okay,
first.
so go ahead and roll.
19.
Ooh. Ooh. Roll your damage
Damage 1d4.
Oh, you just hit the button.
and add another dice.
6.
6 and 27. All right, so you're you just kind of sweep across with your scimitar. When you shatter its rib cage, it vibrates and then just pops to the ground.
Nice.
And there's nobody else standing, right?
I think it's all of them.
That I can see.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to go into defense mode.
Okay, you're kind of looking
Just in
around.
case.
You still have the ghost sight activated, and you kind of look out. You don't see anything in the area. You kind of look over your shoulder. Durant seems to be okay, although wounded. The other guys run up just for extra measure, and they're just pounding on the bones that are on the ground. And
That'll show them.
they're inspired by Riff's courageous hymn.
We lost
Riff?
one guy, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can Riff, since are we still active, or can Riff take a non?
We're
Battle.
still in
We're still in battle.
initiative.
Okay.
So all of them kind of look around and Edwards, you know what Edwards would have maintained his calm. One of the other crew members that was over there that witnessed all 5 of those things just get yeeted into the sky, just spontaneously yells out, he's like, "What in the bloody gods was that? What is going on?" Just you're just in awe.
Well, just remember, in a
Fireball.
few hours, it's going to be raining skeletons.
I was just thinking, we'll be talking, then a skeleton's going to fall on that tent or something.
Raining men.
Edwards is just stay vigilant, everyone, but just look around expand outward, check the perimeter of the camp. And then you see people kind of start moving around with torches, and they're kind of going in pairs and going around checking around the tents and around the perimeter. And just he sort of commands them to be vigilant.
Durant would like to go. Oh wait, we're still in initiative. Never mind.
Now we're out of initiative.
Okay.
All right.
Riff wanted to
Durant
look
would
around.
like to look at. Sorry, go ahead. Everything.
Riff just wanted to look around at everyone around the camp, including Edwards, and look in their eyes, faces, and see if he can perceive any
You see,
sense of just like concentration or
no.
anything like that.
Make a perception plus magic roll. You're trying to detect if anyone is nefariously
Yes.
behind us.
Yeah.
Have we tried eating everybody until someone confesses?
12.
Spanish Inquisition.
You're very certain that no one in this camp has the magical responsibility of what happened here.
Yeah.
However, interestingly enough, since you had a very high roll, you do notice that the one guy who's dead, you notice that the wound that he has from being skewered, usually when someone's wounded, it looks like a normal wound for a while, and then if it gets infected, it festers. His wound, he's dead. His wound is already festered. You notice veins around the entry point, kind of dark.
We need some healing.
Edwards, look.
Well, that's what Durant was going to do. He was going to go look at the body. That's the thing to see.
Go examine the body. Make a perception plus medicine roll.
Okay, that's 4 dice. So that is 3, 5, 7.
You're yeah, that wound on the dead guy seems to be festering. And then you look down at your side. You notice the same thing happening with your wound. It looks like you see
spreading.
It feels like you feel a burning sensation, other than just the pain of being skewered.
So, can I use Cure the Sickness? Would that be a solution?
Do you have enough qua?
You have to be down
I
with
do
the
have enough qua. Because remember, I
You
was
aren't sure if this is disease or if it's poison.
Well, okay, so
You rolled a 7, right? on
yeah,
that
I got
medicine
it.
check?
So maybe I'll be somebody else with more medicine should come and look at this.
Can you use an effect
The
to do what you want to do?
Well, I mean, I have
Well,
a
there's
choice
lots of
between
medicine.
poison and sickness. I have both spells. I just
Edwards calls the botanist over. He's like, bring the botanist and the medicine over. And they run over, and they're looking at the dead body. He's like, no, you fools, him. He's been wounded. That one's dead. And so they come over to you. Ooh, 6, 7, sad. That's not good. They're like, it looks infected, but how could it be infected so quickly? And they're like, perhaps it's some disease or something, or maybe it's a poison. I'm not sure.
Brother, can you look at this?
Do you have?
I don't know.
I will look. Yes. I have no medicine.
I have 1 medicine.
I cured someone before.
Do you have medicine?
How is the fighter healing people? The player can't do shit.
Riff chews a little bit of that leaf we find and puts paste in there.
King's oil.
Heal my brother.
Medicine, I have 2.
But make a perception plus medicine roll.
Maybe one of us will get it.
Somebody has to clear an 8. Come on.
6.
Well,
Be like, yeah.
All right, so I guess
you know there's something wrong with that wound.
all right, I'm going to try cure the sickness first, and then if that fails, draw the poison, and then I'm pretty much spent on qua at that point.
Okay, blow the qua. Roll.
Wait, what am I rolling for that particular thing?
Religion plus
Okay.
willpower.
All right, so that's 5 dice. That is 8, 9 plus 5, 15.
Any
14.
diseases that you might have had are absolutely cured. Fortunately, you had none.
Your
Now-
was gone.
Now you can draw the poison.
Okay, again, 5 dice. 8, 10, 12.
There you go. The weird black veins that were starting to happen, it just oozes backwards out, and this black, oily substance kind of just spills down your side. You're still wounded, though. You're still very wounded. Tuco, do you have any qua with which you
Yes,
can
I have Restore the Flesh.
That is the perfect spell. You are confident that you can help out Durant.
4 health. Do I have to roll something
So
before
make
that?
a roll just to see if you have a higher roll, which would result in more healing.
What is it?
So willpower plus magic.
Nine.
Very good. All right. So roll the d4 and then add 1.
1 plus 1. 2.
You gain 2.
Okay, well,
Riff
Tuco's not too used to this yet.
seems to remember Tuco has an ability to far see. And if he's right, he's like, Tuco, run up in that direction where they came from. Can you see anything?
I'm out.
It's just a suggestion.
That was the end of my qua. Like,
You got nothing?
see anything.
I actually miscalculated a little, so I have 3 quad left. Do we also want to do something about the body in case it... Actually, you know what? I probably need to roll for this. Would I get any sense that there's a chance of this dead body rising from this particular poison?
Does Durant think that the poison is magically able to animate bodies?
I'm going to say probably not, but it's in the back of his head.
You can make a perception. Well, no, you already made a perception plus medicine,
Yeah.
so you don't know.
Okay,
It's
that's
possible, but you don't know.
All right, so I'm not going to spend that last 3 qua. I'm going to hold on to it just in case.
Tuco's going to go up and cut it head off.
Captain Edwards to get some of his
What?
to watch,
We need you, Tuco.
to watch over it.
No, cut the dead guy's head off.
Make a perception plus social manipulation roll.
Probably
The party frowns upon this. No.
6.
All right, you go up and cut the head off, and everybody's like horrified. They're like, "What? Why would you do that? You're desecrating his corpse."
Wait, of
The guy who died.
what the fuck?
Edwards is like, "Everyone back
Actually,
away. Everyone calm down."
It must be done.
He's like, "Back away, good sir." He's like, "Collect the head and the corpse. We will bury him to the south." And you see a few of the guys collect the head and the corpse, and you see them looking
I thought
kind
you
of
took to the skeleton.
angrily at Tuco. They walk off in this direction. A few of them with torches. They grab some shovels. They start walking off this way.
Tuco, this is why we can't have nice things. Why must you upset everybody we travel with?
What's Riff doing?
I mean, Riff just kind of went behind a tree because that's not what he wanted. He was hoping to get some of Captain's men to watch over just to make sure it didn't get reanimated. So he kind of walks away, shaking his head. The whole thing really is very
Good point. The camp seems secure. People, like, half an hour goes by. People have walked around the camp. I'm sorry. Before that happened, a rain of bones showered the western edge of the camp. And people once again are shook for a few minutes, but then they calm down. Edwards has ordered like different groups of people. He's doing multiple watches on the camp tonight and having them kind of doing perimeter walks. So there's actually like 3 different groups of people, groups of 3 who are going to have torches and weapons and armor that are going to be walking the perimeter, covering all angles. And then people, whoever's not doing that, will sleep, and then they'll rotate in 3-hour increments.
Right.
At a certain point, once he has established order in these watches, before everybody retires, Captain Edwards asks all of you to come together. And you're in his tent now at this point, and he says, "I have heard of the undead. I've seen the undead. Corpses, not quite skeletal like that, but corpses. This is foul magic that has caused this. Am I correct? Have any of you, been able to divine what would have caused that and what would have made those skeletons so large?"
I think it's time that we talk about what we found with the time magic. I mean, they've kind of seen our shit now.
Yeah, just a bit. So we have some additional capabilities that we have been keeping to ourselves.
Gifts from the gods, like your ability to fly.
Sure.
Yes, we have the ability to look into the history of places,
You mean like in books?
like as sight, as if it were playing out before us, although we cannot interact.
Like an oracle?
You could consider it like that, yes, I guess.
He says,
It's true.
do you see the future as well?
We haven't tried. We don't know.
What did this gift tell you?
In our earlier expedition, we came upon the ruins of the bridge, which we documented.
Yes.
We looked back into the history at that point, and we determined that giants attacked the bridge, which are very similar in size to those skeletons. There's perhaps a connection there.
These may be the remains of those giants that lived here and wandered these lands long ago.
Also,
Have we?
Yeah.
But you said that location was relatively far up the river, was it not? Why? What would spurn these things to come here?
on our last expedition, I had a vision of the past of some kind of magic user, not us, not the kind of magic we have, that appeared to wipe out an entire village of little people and then reanimate them. And they followed this magic user off into the jungle. Didn't see what happened after that. So clearly there used to be somebody that could wield the kind of power to animate the dead. And there must still be.
This is troubling. I do not possess any knowledge truly of such powerful gifts from the gods, but I've heard the stuff of legend. I know of stories. And if we have stumbled somehow upon this place and perhaps have awoken some sort of hellish entities such that our camp here is not as safe as I had hoped, I would continue to be most grateful for your insights, your wisdom, and your guidance regarding how to best keep this settlement safe.
You have been kind to us, and you've shown us sanctuary and safe passage, and let us join your crew. It is the least we can do to repay that favor.
We're very sorry for the loss of your friend. We never really got to know him well.
This land must be rid of the undead.
Indeed. And as you guys sit at his table with a candle in his tent discussing this, you hear something from outside. And Riff, you get a little tingle on the back of your neck, little danger. And you hear from the outside someone scream from far away. It's gone. They've taken the ship.
Oh.
And we'll find out what happens on the next episode of the Dads. Live and in person. Stay tuned, everybody. We'll see you soon. Thanks for watching, liking, and subscribing, and we'll see you.
Well, hello, and welcome to Bill Allan World. I am Wizzy, the Wizard. I'm back once again to remind you to subscribe and click on the notifications button and Also watch videos that are over there. Tune in to the next episode of whatever show you were just watching and watch other shows featuring Bill. He made me say that because he's a narcissist. Okay, bye.